With the police taking a zero-tolerance approach towards anyone carrying knives or guns, many London gang members are reducing the risk of them doing time by substituting dangerous dogs for more conventional weapons. There's growing agreement that the Met Police need greater powers to tackle these animals and their owners, and a new bill that could be tabled before the end of the year would allow them to seize dogs from known gang members. But will that be too little too late? David Akinsanya investigates.
It's a scene repeated across the capital every day. Teenage gangs using illegal and potentially dangerous breeds of dogs in a new, horrific form of fighting. I just see him hit that dog.
Yeah, because he thought, well, that's going to make it more aggressive. And it's what's called chain fighting. This is very much the same as dog fighting. It's illegal.
I mean, you can see quite clearly they're winding those dogs up, aren't they?
Absolutely. And of course, one of the dog on the right is now caught the dog on the left. It's caught him under the eye.
And this is the outcome of such fights. Dogs with gruesome injuries that often prove fatal. I mean, these guys are standing around, it's like entertainment.
Yeah.
They're entertaining
absolutely.
themselves. Yeah. That's awful. Weeks after this incident, and one of the prime suspects, a 17-year-old, is tracked down by the police and the RSPCA. Armed with a warrant, they're aiming to arrest the owner and capture the dog.
Where's your dog? Your dog? Or the...
Knew anybody who would be fighting their dogs for fun. It just wasn't heard of. Now, it's such a common thing amongst a lot of youngsters.
The increase in dangerous dogs in London, and in Pitbulls in particular, is directly related to the gang problem.
They have with them a number of dogs, and the complaints are that they're fighting the dogs. There's lots of screaming and shouting, lots of dog noise. People are frightened to go outside.
The latest figures show an explosion of dog-related violence in London over the last 12 months. The number of people hospitalised after Staffordshire or Pitbull attack has gone up by 37%, and over 2/3 of all dog fights involve rivalry between youth gangs.
It doesn't matter where you are in London, it seems like these dogs are everywhere. The must-have urban accessory for teenagers.
Meet Super, Crystal and King. 18-year-old friends Ben and Benny have had their dogs for the past 6 months. So why would you choose these particular types of dogs?
I saw her, and as soon as I saw her, I loved her. I didn't even know what breed she was before.
From my point of view, when I see guys walking around with these dogs, first thing I think is, oh, they've got a problem with machismo and all that.
I go to the park every day with my dogs, and a lot of people, when they see me and my 2 dogs, they pick up their dogs and walk off because they think my dogs are vicious.
The stereotype of these dogs is that they're aggressive and all those sorts of things. I'm not saying that's why you have them, but can you understand that a lot of boys have these dogs for other reasons?
80% of the boys with dogs want them for fighting.
Yeah, because it's all to do with money at the end of the day, isn't it? Fighting for money.
Right.
Yeah. If they're in a lot of trouble, they get dogs as a weapon, just for protection when they're on the street.
Right.
If they're in trouble with other boys as well, which probably adds it on.
Say, if someone come and said to you, look, that looks like a good fighting dog, do you fancy getting it on in the park? You would absolutely refuse that.
Refuse.
At the sharp end of the battle against dangerous dogs, Mark Callis has witnessed some of the most appalling attacks.
2 Pitbull Terriers were being kept by a 17-year-old lad, and they'd escaped. They picked on the first dog they come across. The attack lasted 45 minutes. That is a long and sustained attack. My staff were called, the police were called, everybody was involved in this incident. We managed to secure one dog on a grasper and get it into a cage. The other dog was just so aggressive it wouldn't let go of this chap's dog. And in the end, the police called their firearms unit in, and it took 4 bullets to stop this pit bull, killed it.
And dangerous pit bulls are not just a threat to us and other dogs. If you look closely, the damage they cause is everywhere. These trees are being decimated by a practice called baiting. Owners are forcing their dogs to rip off bark and hang on branches in order to make them better fighters. I can tell this has been done by dogs just purely by the height. Look, I mean, they've been scratching and biting, just trying to strengthen their teeth. And this has been done recently. Look, the bark's still there on the floor. Once brutalised in this way, a dog's drive to attack can become insatiable. These guys know this all too well. They're from the new Metropolitan Status Dogs Unit, specifically established to deal with dangerous dogs and gangs. It's 8 a.m. and they're aiming to seize a dog that's not only suspected of being an illegal breed, it's also become dangerous.
There is some history of biting. I don't know the full history, but dogs bite for all sorts of reasons, and normally the reason is at the other end of the leash. Hello, police officers. OK, we have a warrant under the Dangerous Dogs Act. Can I ask you just step away from the living room door, sir? Is this in here? No. Your dog is a Pitbull Terrier. Good boy. So I'm going to take him away now. The officer will come and talk to you. Is he your dog?
Raids like this enable Ian and his dedicated team to take dozens of dangerous animals off the streets every month. In the battle against irresponsible dog owners, the Met are also pioneering a project called Bark.
It's really the police coming together with the local authority dog wardens, with the RSPCA and with the local housing providers and the local environmental health to look at ways in which we can educate people and make it socially unacceptable to use dogs in this fashion.
Under current legislation, the police are empowered to confiscate any dog that causes harm or is suspected of being one of 4 banned breeds, including pit bulls.
The problem with this law, critics say, is that firstly, non-specialist officers find it difficult to tell the difference between banned or legal dogs. And secondly, it's a reactive law, only allowing enforcement once the dog is suspected of being illegal or once it's attacked. In other words, when it's too late.
Later this year, a new policing bill will empower the police to seize dogs from known gang members. But critics say the bill won't solve the problem. Jan has been working with dogs for over 40 years and he believes the way forward is to register every dog in the country through microchipping.
Microchipping works through all the paperwork that's completed, the registration of the dog. That's the foundation block that everything else is built from. And then it would really depend on what, for instance, your problems are, whether it's stray dogs, whether it's dogs fouling the footpaths, or dangerous dogs.
Jan believes the idea would eliminate illegal breeds, as experts will be able to identify them at registration, whilst dangerous dogs could be forced to undergo corrective training. And one London borough agrees with him. Wandsworth is the first council in the country to introduce compulsory dog microchipping on its council estates.
And out. And that's the microchip number. Good girl.
That dog is now microchipped.
That dog's now microchipped, and that's as simple as that, yep.
What do the residents feel about it? Is it something you've got the backing of in the borough?
Everybody supports what we're trying to achieve. We're not banning dogs, we're not anti-dog in Wandsworth, but we want them to fit into the community, and to do that we need responsible dog owners.
What about the others that haven't taken it up that you aren't in contact with?
That they're now in breach of their tenancy conditions. Now, if you're in breach of your tenancy conditions, the ultimate sanction by the housing department would be eviction. You could lose your property.
A draconian measure? Citizens' control gone too far? Perhaps not. When you consider that if we don't do something drastic, thousands more dogs who have been abused and brutalised will end up in sanctuaries like this.